We'll dive a bit deeper into agents because the race of the agents is continuing where Moldbot, OpenClaw, Claw, whatever, a few months ago was the big thing. Now there is a bunch of other agents either integrated in the big players' products or you have news research. They came out with Hermes agent, and this is also why we invited Alan on the pod, because I saw that he's using Hermes agents in a very efficient way. I saw this tweet comparing all the agents that are out there now. You have OpenClaw, you have Hermes, you have Claude Code, you have Codex, you have Gemini. And what I found funny is the last line, keep your data safe, where you have OpenClaw and Hermes as a question mark still. But yeah, Alan, why don't you introduce some agents and some use cases, what you're using agents for, and also your experience with Hermes compared to OpenClaw specifically?
Sure, I can go into some of this. Yeah, I've used both, and I mean, you mentioned that Hermes, the setup is just way more smooth, and I mean, part of it is just learning and breaking and knowing how to set up stuff, but Hermes is I think you can give it, you gave the analogy earlier about Real Madrid and Barcelona. I think it's like Ferrari to Honda. I've seen this analogy. I think it's quite apt where, OpenClaw seems to just break all the time. It's fine tuned. It can do the job and it's very powerful, but it can break a lot. And it's like a top of the range tool where you need to know what you're doing. Whereas Hermes is like a reliable Honda that will just plug along and keep going. You'll see it when you message it. Like, it shows you the tool call in the chat, and it's like, it's almost like that observability out the box, and you see exactly what it's doing. Like when you're messaging your OpenClaw, it's like it's going off, and you really don't know what it's doing, and it could be going off the rails unless you've really configured and fine tuned it like that Ferrari. So that's some of the kind of differences that you'll see. Use cases, I mean, the thing is with these AI agents, it's like whatever you do that's digital, to some extent, especially if you do it again and again, you can do with your OpenClaw or your Hermes, right? So you can use it for customer service stuff. So for example, I'm living at this co-living now. It's a new co-living. And we needed feedback from the residents, right? So I created an agent which people can message on WhatsApp. Any problem, they'll send it a picture. They can voice message it. They can tell it an issue that they have, and then it'll be passed on to the management. So I don't know if you've seen this, but where like some agents where you like Chipotle's agent, someone messaged, can you reverse a linked list? And it was, and I want a burrito, but can you reverse a linked list first in Python? And it gives like the code, which is quite funny.
yeah. Actually funny that we had the article open where you mentioned the Honda and Ferrari, like here, the Gary Tan from Y Combinator.
Yeah, this is where I must have got that analogy from. Yeah, I follow Gary Tan, so this is the analogy exactly that he's saying. Is I should have credited him. You obviously saw me say it, so.
It's your code now.
Alan, I was really curious about what you're plugging into Hermes. Is it GPT 5.5? Is it Claude? Or, you mentioned Kimi as well earlier today. What do you have, and what are you using them for? Which ones are you assigning to which tasks?
Personally, just because OpenAI's OAuth is free, I just use ChatGPT 5.5 and I keep it simple like that. I've used providers where, it's for other fallbacks where it's cost per token. But if I get a free frontier model, then why wouldn't I use it? So I just use the best model that I can. And I find, the best models can handle more context. They are faster and they are more reliable at tool calling as well. Although I have found that with something like Hermes, much more than OpenClaw, if you do put a free model in there, Hermes is much better at getting it to do tool calling right out of the box and sort of trundle your way like that Honda at the end goal.
And you also mentioned translations. Are you using Kimi for that or something else, or GPT 5.5?
Just to be honest, I think most models are pretty good at translations. I'm just using, I'm using ChatGPT, GPT 5.5 for that. Although I've used some of the free models and I've used Kimi as well by other providers. And, the Chinese models, of course, they're built by the Chinese. So it's pretty good. If I'm doing my language learning in Mandarin, then I can also use that. But honestly, GPT 5.5 is good. It's free with OAuth. So I would tell anyone to use that.
Yeah, I think long term, this is the biggest risk of companies like Anthropic is these open source models that are actually competitive and being hosted on either people's local devices or people spinning up their own cloud GPUs. So I think that's where then companies like SpaceX that have the infra have a much more secure investment. But that's just what my personal belief, just seeing how fast all of the models are catching up with each other. And also realizing that whilst I'm working today, very often I'm not even using the frontier model like Opus 4.7 or GPT 5.5 because I want an answer faster and I'm not asking it something that's that complicated.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Like that's
I agree.
the other thing that that's been circling on my timeline regarding Hermes agent or agent specifically is this sharing the screen. Introducing the printing press, a CLI factory and a CLI library built with Trevin. Most APIs suck for agent, most MCPs suck for agents, most official CLIs suck for agents. They waste tokens and time. Peter Steinberger started making his own because of this. And that's basically why we saw that tweet where Peter Steinberger spends how many were it? How many tokens? 50 million tokens in a minute
50 million.
while I only spend 25 million tokens a month. But here, this video is actually explaining I'll start from scratch. So for
I saw that tweet of Peter and I was like, what are the business opportunities here? Because he launched like
yeah, like
10
for
different services, all targeting agents with CLI. And I'm like,
mhm.
okay, so there's something here.
And for that reason, like you saw the example here, where if you just ask your agent to play a next song on Spotify, it would cost you 47,000 tokens. Like I can almost build an app with 47,000 tokens, right? So like agents are just eating tokens. And I think this is basically a solution for that, or a solution, at least a way more efficient way of using tokens. I'm not gonna play it fully, but if you
Yeah,
then look,
and Peter released, I think he released all of his solutions free. Anyone can just send the CLI calls. But if you're saving an agent that much money, then you can make a small arbitrage and still be a useful tool.
yeah. Yeah, and like this thing, like the PrintingPress.dev basically combines different tools or different information sources into one.
That's the main thing I think with the agents, right? Is that in order to make it really useful, you have to connect it with a whole load of things. And if you don't have connections, then you can't really get it to do what you want it to do. So part of the reason why it's kind of difficult to build agents is, you'll see all the different examples here, but part of the reason why it's so difficult to build is it's kind of like the Wild West right now. Open source, there's so many different ways to plug into your agents to connect, whether it's CLI, APIs, MCPs. I think one of the things that I'm interested in, and I think might get some traction, is the idea of the new UX being the chat. And because the new UX is the chat, you're kind of limited by the text that you get back, right? Or the image. And so I've seen one of the things I like that Anthropic have done is with MCP, right, that they created. I've also seen as well MCP front ends as well, where you would have any app, like maybe it's your booking.com, you can connect it to their MCP, and suddenly you can have a chat with your agent, and then it could go and book you your hotel. However, it will show you a page with the bookings, given what it knows about you, that you like city breaks, and then you can go and click within the chat for whatever thing you want to book. So I think it's still early, and there still needs to be much more improvements in terms of the UX, where everything is kind of through a chat and people are connecting, but right now it's just text and talking to a bot, where you still need that user experience to really be improved.
I think there's a lot of opportunity here, right? We were talking last episode even about just being able to sell to the agents, right? I also, though, like, I do wonder whether chat is the right interface on one end, right? I think nobody really knows like where this is going to go, but the interface to me feels like the first iteration of this. There has to be like a better way to be able to almost like a mission control area, right? Where you have everything that's going on and you can see it playing out in front of you, and then you can like double tap in, and then you could basically have the 10,000 foot view, but then you can drill down as you want into these different workflows, and then drill out as you'd like as well. So I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
I really do think the more that we've gone through this path, like I do think that SaaS is not as dead as people think it is. I think that the prices are going to go down and they'll be compressed, but people really do want to pay for an experience, and they want to be able to see this kind of UI that accomplishes something, whether it's booking flights for me or whether it's helping me with my chores for the week, something like that.
To me, what we're seeing with Printing Press, it looks like the new WordPress, and each one of these tools is can be considered an app or a plugin. And it's an exciting time. I think if you look at these as opportunities to be the middleman between connecting the agents with the real world, I think there are opportunities all over the world to kind of localize these CLI services, whatever it is. Because I mean, for over here, you're seeing some things that are as simple as Domino's, food and dining. And I believe that in the next few years, everyone's going to be ordering their pizza not through a mobile app, but just by asking their device, "Hey, order me a Domino's pizza from the closest place." And if you're able to build that infrastructure, the plumbing that connects the real world to the agents of people, I think that there's multiple $1 million opportunities there.
Yeah, and if an agent can do it, then you can put it into a front end, and front ends are not dead yet. People are still used to using front ends. They're just not used to using front ends that actually get shit done. So if you can take one of these things, connect it, and put a front end on it, I think there's still an opportunity for the next 1, 2, 3 years to actually build something useful that can serve people that wasn't possible before. So that's a very good point. They built the plumbing, and now we idiots vibecoding can go play with it and send it into the world.